If you don't think you're enough, nothing you'll ever do or accomplish will feel like enough. You're gonna keep chasing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. You might move around trying to find happiness in the next place. You might change partners trying to find happiness in a different partner. But the truth is, you'll get to all of those places, you'll get to all of these people still feeling like it's not enough. It's not the right thing. You gotta move on and find something better. And as you can probably already tell, your situation is not the problem. Your internal state of not enoughness, how you feel on the inside, that's what needs to change. Now you may wonder, but how do I do that? There's a good chance that you're aware that the stress that you're feeling on the daily, that internal rushedness comes from your childhood, comes from some programming. You've done some stuff and you're still chasing. I so hear you. I used to be exactly in your shoes, and I want to share with you what really helped me. So the number one thing, and you probably heard this before, is gratitude. And I am telling you, it really makes the world of a difference. But I think the real challenge is, how do we actually stay grateful, right? Because like, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I should be more grateful, I want to be more grateful. But if you don't take out your journal to write down things you're grateful for, or if you don't like sit down to actively thank for what you are having in your life, for what you are receiving, we don't get the beautiful benefits of it. So it really helped me is to simplify this as much as possible and to live a slower life in general, but more on that in a second. This thing right here is my journal. This is like my overall journal. This is where I do my daily pages, all sorts of things. This is an amazing concept. It's basically like different journals in one. And one of the journals that I keep in here is my gratitude journal. And I literally put this next to my bed every evening. And sometimes I just keep it on my nightstand, but usually I journal throughout the day. I journal in the morning. And so this thing will kind of move around with me during the day, but I do bring it upstairs with me in the evening so I can write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I think this is one of the struggles of a lot of people, that we know we want to be more grateful. We know it's something that would benefit us so much, but we don't create a routine, a habit out of actually doing that. And the truth is, yes, ideally, we would not even need a gratitude journal or a gratitude practice because we would just be grateful. But I think the reality is most of us are just not there. And so building a habit, making it a habit to actively practice gratitude, I think is an amazing way to get yourself on the path of being more connected to all the beautiful things that are already in your life. Now, the next thing that I want to touch is living a slower life. When we live more slowly, I think this is the key to actually realizing all the beauty that is in your life. This is where I'm bringing it up as the second point because it's so closely related to gratitude. But I find that living a more slow life is what actually helps me be the person that, I don't know, looks up in the sky and is just really grateful. It makes me the person that goes on a walk and sees the beautiful flower because I'm not listening to a podcast. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm just fully there present. And then, you know, you look around, you hear the birds sing, and it not only grounds you into the present moment even more, but it also just makes your whole life a life of beauty, a life of gratitude, something that you're truly enjoying. And I think this is one of our greatest struggles in modern society. We don't live slowly enough. We're constantly looking at our phones, we're constantly thinking about the next thing. And I know it can feel difficult in the beginning, but it's really about just taking that one moment, taking that one deep breath and asking yourself again what you want to be doing with your time. How do I want to spend my day? Do I want to spend the rest of my day? How do I want to spend the next 10 minutes? We just need that one moment of checking in, really tuning into the present moment so we can make a decision that actually nurtures us instead of keeping us in that chasing more mode. I think so many of us actually live really beautiful lives. There's so much beauty in our lives. There's so many answered prayers that we're living in, and yet we just don't see it because we're not living slow enough to actually witness it. And again, because we're in that state of not enough, we don't allow ourselves to really enjoy what we already have, what we've already created, what we already attracted, but we're just jumping right to the next thing that we think we have to do to finally feel enough. My experience is that when we truly allow ourselves to celebrate and live slow, essentially we start living in a state of abundance, and there's just not so many things anymore that we gotta chase because we already have everything. Now the next thing, and I think this comes with more gratitude, with living more slowly, but I wanted to separately bring it up, is that we need to stop comparing ourselves to others. I think when we compare ourselves to others, we're essentially looking on the outside to receive approval for who we are instead of approving of ourselves. So what we need to do is to get intimate with ourselves and to really find the love for ourselves within ourselves so that we can stop looking around us, looking into the big wide world to see if we're good enough for this world. If we believe we're good enough inside, it becomes really easy to stop comparing ourselves. On the other hand, if we're constantly scrolling social media and we're looking at other people's lives, or rather how people portray their own lives online, and then there's so many people seemingly living the perfect lives, it's so easy to think that the way you are, the way you live, that there's something wrong with that. So I guess ultimately the advice isn't even to stop comparing yourself, but to truly nourish your heart and get intimate with yourself, learn to approve of yourself so that you no longer compare yourself and basically destroy your own happiness by looking at what others do or have. One of my favorite practices, and this is so incredibly simple, is to first write down things that I love about myself, make this whole list, try to come up with as many things as possible, and then end with I love myself, period. Because at the end of the day, it's great that we can love ourselves for the beautiful hair that we have, or for how consistently we're going to the gym, or anything like that. This is still conditional love, and we want to get to a place of unconditional self-love, right? So it's beautiful and helpful to, write down all of these things that you love about yourself, but at the end of the day, what truly matters is that you love yourself, period. And this is why I always wrap up that practice with I love myself, period. And oftentimes I'll just write it down like 10 times, or how many times I need to really anchor that into my body to actually feel it, right? Because we don't just want a nice affirmation that we don't believe in at all. We don't want to write down something that feels like a lie. So for me, writing it down as many times as I need in that moment on that day, that really, really helps me and gets me out of that chasing mode, out of that seemingly healthy, I love myself because ... when in reality, it actually keeps me prisoner of my own not enoughness. Because like I said, that self-love is still very much conditional, which to me, that doesn't make it actual self-love. If you feel like it's time to go deeper with this work, to move from just affirming it to yourself, to repeating it in your mind, to actually feeling it in your body, make sure to check the info box. I've created a resource called The Feminine Frequency, which helps you really land in your feminine energy and to do the deeper work that you've probably not done before, so that you don't need 100 routines or 100 tools, or do breath work every day, meditate every single day to feel good about yourself and to feel peaceful and feminine in your heart. Now, the next thing that I want to share with you, and I just briefly mentioned this, is that we need to get out of our heads and into our bodies. So many women feel dissatisfied, feel a constant hunger for more, because they're essentially living their entire lives from their head, wondering why things don't feel good and fulfilling in the body. And again, I so understand that position, because that used to be me. I used to be so proud of being so headstrong that I could get anything I wanted, but beneath the surface, I was always chasing the next thing and nothing was ever good enough. Only when I learned that essentially I was living from my head the whole time, and that of course that wouldn't satisfy my body, I could really make a change. And so the only real helpful tip I can give you here is to move your body, get into your body, do some intentional moving. You'd be surprised if you put on some music and you just allow yourself to close your eyes and just vibe, what your body will do. So the best way to get out of your head is by getting into your body. Move your body, move your hips, close your eyes, and just let yourself get carried away. It works wonders, I promise. And now the last thing that I really want to share with you here is to build a routine that helps you stay rooted. As we said in the beginning, we know so much more than we're actually putting into practice, and that is something that we want to change if we truly want to feel better. And so remember, you could keep a nice little journal on your nightstand and do your daily gratitude practice. And maybe right before or right after, you can do some intuitive movement. Same thing in the mornings. If you have some sort of a morning routine, it can literally just be brushing your teeth. Combine something that's really good for you with that thing. This is called habit stacking. Maybe you've heard of it. And I have found that this actually really works well. A lot of times we don't need some complicated morning routine or nighttime routine, even though I know we all love these beautiful aesthetic vlogs on YouTube that take us into another world. I dare to say that almost no person's morning routine actually looks like that. And if they do, that's awesome, but you don't have to have a 20-step morning routine. I think simple is good, and simple actually gets us to do the thing instead of then skipping it because we wanted like a 2-hour super complicated morning routine that essentially required us to become a different person for us to stick to that. For the longest time, I had this desire for just like a sweet little morning audio that I could listen to every single morning to tune into my feminine energy, to land in the day, to land in my body. And I finally created that this year. And I'm so excited that I'm now able to share this with you. You'll also find the link for that in the info box. And I am telling you, the feedback I've been getting for this audio is honestly insane. So if you crave something super simple, something that you could just press play and let it do its magic on you, make sure you grab that feminine energy morning activation. Now, I hope that this was helpful and gave you some practical tips on how you can stop rushing so much and truly land in the abundance of every single moment of every single day and of yourself. I know that you know deep down in your heart, it's not the next thing, it's not the next promotion, the next business milestone, the other man. None of that will feel good enough if you're not filling the gap within, if you're not filling the hole within. And on the contrary, when you open your heart, when you land back in your feminine energy, when you land back in your body, you'll be experiencing more abundance, more love than you ever dared to dream of. If you like this video, if you found this helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, I'd be so excited to welcome you to the club, to the fam, and I'll see you in the next video.